In the shadow of the Magic City, Miami, it's a Black Friday, and it's the Miami Hurricanes shopping for yet another victory as they host the South Alabama Jaguars here inside the Bank United Center and beautiful Coral Gables. Great to have you with us, everybody, for the ACC on ESPN. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you. I've had a chance to watch this team a great deal this season, and Drew, it's no surprise that Coach Larinaga has them off to another great start.
National ranking. Coach L has done a great job again this year, bringing this Miami program up to the national forefront.
By the way, they've gotten the job done with outstanding shooting from outside the three-point line, and it certainly helps to have balance.
Well, they get it done by committee. Obviously, a lot of people know about Angel Rodriguez, but this Miami team has a number of guys who can really shoot the basketball from the three-point line.
You mentioned Rodriguez, a transfer from Kansas State. Another transfer is having a huge impact on the Canes already.
The transfer from Texas, Sheldon McLennan, he's a big-time athlete who I think has really improved his outside shot over the past year. Had a career-high 31 and 11 rebounds against Charlotte.
Meanwhile, a relatively young South Alabama squad comes in led by John Brown.
Yeah, John Brown is going to be one of their main guys tonight, but this is a team where their backcourt really has to play well in order for them to have a chance against the Canes tonight.
Only that one senior on the active roster. Boy, that makes it awfully tough. As we take a look at the lineup, you see Williams, Stevens, Brown, Boyanov, and Ferguson getting the nod for the Jags. LeCompte, Rodriguez, McClellan, Thomas, and Jacquerie. Coach Larinaga, fourth season at the helm for the Canes, and look at that outstanding mark, 71 and 36, as he tries, as you heard Drew point out, try to really give this school a dual personality, not just a football school anymore. As you see Matthew Graves there, second season that is at the helm for South Alabama. It is a building process, though, Drew, and you really like when you have this core that's young. If you can keep them together, that should bode well for their future.
Without question, I think that South Alabama, they've just got to continue to do what they've been doing. Obviously, it's going to be a process, but they have a chance as they continue to build throughout the year.
As you saw the officials right there. Rodriguez working right. Expect crisp ball movement from the Canes. That's a hallmark of Coach Larinaga. Working right now, LeCompte gives it up. Shot clock heading in 10-second range, and that's going to be an offensive foul. A little bit too aggressive right there.
Really good job that time by Boyanov to make sure that Angel Rodriguez would split the screen. He stayed there, he held his position. Rodriguez with the offensive foul.
Boyanov getting them started here. Williams, as you see, going to test it. Chance for outside shooting. Boyanov fires one up. This one off the mark. Hauled in by LeCompte, and here come the Canes. As he splits the defense. Serving that one up, and it is in there for the bucket on the foul. Jacquerie with the first deuce of the game.
Excellent job right there by LeCompte. Coming off the pick and roll. Anytime you come off pick and roll and the defender's behind, you have to be aggressive. That time, he was able to be aggressive and then get the pass into Jacquerie, who was able to finish.
So we'll see if we can knock this one down for the three-point play. The big fella from Hialeah. You're going to notice a lot of local flair here. Miss, but a rebound, and the Canes maintain possession. Rodriguez has it.
That's one area where South Alabama, they're going to have to really compete on the defensive end because they don't have a lot of size. So they have to make sure that they do a good job of boxing out and then throwing that defensive rebound.
Shot clock again, right around 15. You see the shot in the lane there, off the mark. Jacquerie can't get it to go, and another whistle. So difficult, as you point out there, Drew, when you're battling with a big fella like a Jacquerie, it makes for a very long night.
Well, you got to use your lower body because a guy like Tanya Jacquerie, nobody from South Alabama is 7 feet. So you got to make sure that you get into his body with your lower body and push him outside of the paint. Jacquerie, that time was way too close to the basket, was able to get fouled.
Would love to get to averaging a double-double this season. That means he's going to have to pick up the pace offensively. As you see, as he knocks down that one, 3 points is now the lead for the Canes. But he's averaging double figures in the rebounding category. You would expect a guy of that size and caliber to be able to pull that off.
Well, speaking of Coach L before the game, he was really impressed with how Tanya Jacquerie has developed. This is a guy who's only been playing basketball for 5 years, coming from Nigeria. And I saw a lot of him last year, and I think that he's really improved so far early on this season. That's part of the reason why the offense started.
So Jacquerie knocks down a pair. rolling early. Ferguson shot, no. Rebound picked up by Rodriguez, and he's on the move again. Holds up this time, but be aware he can shoot. Nice Euro drop step, can't make the play. Instead, it's a turnover. Here come the Jaguars back the other way. Firing up from outside, but no. And again, a rebound for the Canes, and we go the other way. On the miss that time, you saw John Brown trying to get his team off to at least somewhat of a hot start. They have yet to score. 18-minute mark now here, remaining in the first half.
South Alabama has to do a better job of converting in transition. In their last game, they only had 4 fast break points. For a young offensive team that struggles to score the basketball, you've got to find ways in order to create opportunities for yourself.
TJ with a skip pass, and you see LeCompte knocks down the 3. 7-0 Miami.
Excellent recognition right there by LeCompte to be able to just catch the basketball, saw that he was open, and go up and knock it down.
If you've watched the Hurricanes play this season, you probably enjoy the defensive pressure that they apply. A lot of success with that in that big victory over the Florida Gators. There's a shot up and no. Again, battle for the rebound. Hauled in. This time, it's Thomas with the honors. Again, a great recognition and another knockdown shot this time. It's a smooth stroke from Sheldon McClellan.
Right there, I think again is where you see the improvement of Tanya Jakiri. I think last year he wouldn't have been able to catch that basketball on the post and have the awareness to see that cross-court pass to Sheldon McClellan. And McClellan obviously is getting off to another hot start tonight.
Williams with a 3, off the mark. Rodriguez controls. This is going to be so important, Drew, especially as they get into ACC play. Oh, what a great pass. Spin move, shot, up and good. Joe Thomas, and the Canes lead by 12.
You know, one of the things that I was concerned about with Miami, especially coming off of the holiday, those guys probably had a good Thanksgiving, ate a lot of turkey. You kind of questioned what their mentality was going to be. As you see here, Tanya Jakiri catching the basketball, does a good job surveying the field, finds McClellan, and then what an excellent pass inside to Joe Thomas, who's not really a scorer, but does a good job of finishing right there.
Sheldon McClellan getting the honors of that terrific assist to stand out from Houston, Texas. So along with his 3 points, he makes a highlight worthy of SportsCenter as the Canes are off to a 12-point lead here in the early going. I want to switch gears and talk just a bit about Matthew Graves and the Jaguars. What do you do when you have a young team? They're already down by 12, and we are really early into this contest. How do you settle them down?
Well, I think you've got to come up with some sort of play to try to get them an easy basket. Not necessarily an outside shot, but try to get the basketball into the paint, hopefully get fouled so you can get your team on the board and then go from there.
USA 0 for 5 from the floor thus far. Probably try to work it a little bit closer to the basket this time. Tall timber there, and no real shot to get that one off. Nice effort there by Ferguson, but the Canes are there to control. LeCompte now breaking ankles with that move. Wonderful pass inside as he tries to hook up once again with Joe. That one's knocked out. Canes, however, will control.
LeCompte's another guy, watching him this year as opposed to last year. He's somebody that's really improved. He's put on some weight. He looks like he's filled out a little bit, and he's shooting the basketball exceptionally well so far this year.
Speaking of exceptionally well, boy, McClellan is really having a terrific early start to the season. We'll see if he really lights up here offensively as he gets a shot here, decides to pass it up, working it around, shot clock approaching the 10-second mark now. To carry from far away from the basket, that's when turnovers happen. And here come the Jags the other way, looking for their first bucket of the contest. Working outside, you see Stevens, shot up, and this time it's an offensive foul. So aggressive play. I'm not so sure that Coach Graves will be upset by that.
No, I thought that it was a pretty good drive to the basket, but at the same time,
you got to be on that, right? As we take a timeout, the Canes lead 12-0 inside the Bank United Center. It's the ACC on ESPN. This is the ACC on ESPN. College basketball tonight. Miami leading South Alabama 12-0. 15:33 to go here in the first half. As we take a look at their upcoming schedule, a couple of really tough games there. You see the battle with Illinois coming up on the 2nd. I'm pointing to the one on the 22nd there, Drew, against Providence on the road.
I'm looking at the game against Illinois. ACC Big Ten Challenge, obviously this is going to be a step up in terms of the caliber of opponent for Coach Larenega's team. And Illinois is a very good basketball team. They've got a good forward, Ramonte Rice, that I think is going to pose a very big problem for Miami.
Miami, meanwhile, once again knocking him down from downtown, and no surprise, as LeCompte does it again. That's his 2nd triple. He's got 6. Canes lead by 15.
Coach Larenega has to be pleased coming out of a timeout. Coaches always want to see execution, and they executed that play to perfection for an outside 3.
You see the attempt there to try to get, again, closer to the bucket just to get a little work inside. But again, it's 3-pointers from outside that leads the way for the Canes.
You couldn't really see it right there, but DeAndre Burnett did a good job of screening Manu LeCompte, and he was able to get free and knock down that 3-point shot.
Canes bringing in Newton. And we have a whistle. Travel is the call. We go the other way. Newton, another one of those outstanding players from a hotbed of basketball, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Coach Larenega is very, very excited to see him progress. Obviously, coming into the program with Angel Rodriguez, he's going to get an opportunity to learn from one of the best in college basketball.
So we'll see now if the Jags can finally get on the board. It has been a long, cold start here inside the Bank United Center for South Alabama. That shot not going to get it done. Tayshaun Johnson trying all he could to draw the foul. Nothing doing from the men in stripes. Here come the Canes. Newton looking, firing to the right side there. Trying to hook up with Palmer. We'll see what he can do with the basketball.
Speaking about South Alabama right now, you have to kind of question their shot selection. They haven't done a good job in terms of playing together, finding the open teammate in order to take a good shot. It's been a lot of individualistic play right now.
That may be their best shot of the night right there, as you see Williams fire one up. The stand up from Houston, Texas. Nothing doing. Here comes Burnett driving in the lane. Draws the contact, but no call. Here come the Jags going the other way. Got to get used to that contact for the ACC anyway. South Alabama struggling from outside, and there's another example of what you talked about, Drew. Got to get better looks than that.
Come down, you get a stop on the defensive end. You don't want to come down and take a shot 5-6 seconds into the shot clock that results in an air ball. Obviously a shot that Coach Graves doesn't want to see.
LeCompte trying to calm things down here for the Canes. Still leading comfortably, 15-0. Here as we approach the midway mark, that is, of the first half. Jacari shot off the mark. Good hustle on the inside as DeAndre Burnett puts her up and in.
Excellent job that time by Burnett being able to crash the offensive glass. Most of the time you wouldn't expect a player of Burnett's size to go in there because he's only about 6'1" or 6'2", but he's one of those guys that has a great feel in terms of knowing when to go and knowing when not to go. As you see here, kind of sneaks in, is able to put it back in.
You know, it's interesting. You've talked about the want, how big that is in basketball. A lot of guys would love to have size. Listen, it'd be great to be 6'8", 275, and run like LeBron, but the truth is, if you have a lot of want to go along with basketball smarts, you can make an impact just like Burnett just did.
DeAndre Burnett is a scorer, and anytime he gets an opportunity to score, whether it be in fast break, getting an offensive rebound, he's going to go for those opportunities. He had redshirt freshman, he had to sit out last year with a big wrist injury, and I'm just sure that he's excited just to be on the court.
One of 3 players from the local Miami area on this Hurricane squad, up to a 17-0 lead. 13 minutes to go here in the first half. This is the ACC on ESPN. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you inside the Bank United Center in beautiful Coral Gables, Florida, just outside the Magic City of Miami. Again, the Jags of South Alabama trying very hard to get on the board here. See if they get better shot selection here. Shot clock down to 10 seconds, and it's a turnover. And here goes Rodriguez, up to the rim. No, the rebound, however, is put up and in. And once again, it's James Palmer with the bucket, 19-0.
Good job that time by Palmer of following the basketball play. A lot of times in those situations, you see guys slow down because they think that Rodriguez would have finished the play, but Palmer followed it, was able to get the putback.
Now you saw a really good chance there by Tafari Whittingham. He did everything right to get that one to go. Stand out from Brooklyn, New York, but he just missed the shot. And as you see there on the outplay, it comes back Miami's way, 19-zip Canes. A lot of fresh legs out there for Miami. Omar Sherman on the floor. Here goes Burnett, up and into the bucket, 21-zip, Canes rolling.
A little bit surprised right now by South Alabama that they haven't tried to switch up their defense, possibly go to a zone to counter some of Miami's length, as well as I understand that they're a very good three-point shooting team, but when your man-to-man defense isn't working, you have to try something else.
Anything else, especially when you're down 21-zip, and just about even, it looks to me, even the good shots are not falling right now, Drew.
Seems like there's a lid on the basket,
yeah,
to be totally honest.
Absolutely right. Meanwhile, Jaquan Newton comes right back to hit another 23-zip, and now you just begin to wonder, when will the Jags ever get a score in this contest? Here's a good shot here. Outside, shot on the way, got it! Knocking one down finally, Abdul Lewis.
See, that's something that you want to see. They did a good job that time in terms of executing their pick and roll, passing the basketball to the open player, and he stepped up confidently and knocked it down.
So a 23-point run to start play here, and the Canes lead big. As you see the miss there by Omar Sherman, took off on the wrong foot, did the big fella, unable to finish. And would you believe, back-to-back buckets now for the Jaguars as Tayshaun Johnson gets his way in there. South Alabama, by the way, 9 minutes and 43 seconds of scoreless basketball to get things started in this contest, and that is certainly not what they had in mind. They trail now by 19. Marking the bucket, Newton fired, no, tipped around, rebound, Lewis gives it up and gives way to Johnson.
What you see right now from South Alabama, they're playing at a pace that's probably a little bit faster than what you would normally want. I think that's been the reason for some of these missed shots, as well as some of their turnovers so far.
And you see once again, it's Abdul Lewis forcing the issue. We're going to take a quick timeout here inside the Bank United Center. DeAndre Burnett and the Canes led 23-0. They lead right now by 19. Welcome back, everybody. It's the ACC on ESPN. Kevin Cork, Drew Nicholas with you. Miami off to a 23-point lead before South Alabama got on the board. Thanks to that young man right there, Abdul Lewis, the freshman from Newark, New Jersey, breaking the string. As you look inside the numbers here, Drew, yikes if you're a fan of the Jaguars.
Well, South Alabama coming out shooting 2 for 13. And you know, it's been really difficult. Obviously, Miami's defense has been good, but I also think part of it has been South Alabama's inability to run their offense, use shot clock, and make sure that you get good shots. But the past couple of possessions have been promising.
Lewis missing that one. One of a pair of Jags to get on the board here for USA. As you see, some of the Canes going in and out of the lineup thanks to that great start. I mentioned that the freshman Lewis is from Newark, New Jersey, 6'9", 225, a big presence on the inside. Gonna have to work on the charity stripe work as he misses a pair, still 23-4. 7 different Hurricanes have scored already in this contest. One of them is not Angel Rodriguez. See if that changes very quickly. However, it's not the case with Omar Sherman, who is now on the board, 25-4.
Excellent recognition right there by James Palmer in terms of catching the basketball off the pick and roll. And then he saw the big guy step up, and he was able to drop it off to Sherman with an easy deuce.
So the Jags on a 4-0 run there for just a moment. I know it's not much, but when you're down 23 points, you'll certainly take it. Canes have come back now to hit a bucket. Possession arrow favoring South Alabama. 9:25 to go here in the first half. Good strong move in the lane by Whittingham. Tafari with the bucket.
Excellent job that time by Whittingham. He attacked Miami's height. He went right into the basket, was able to go up strong, get a quick, easy deuce.
If you know Drew Nicholas's story, as we see the turnover here and the breakaway, good for the bucket for Barrington Stevens, and it's now 25-8. I was just going to make mention of the fact that you're from Long Island.
Yep.
And you know what it's like to play in the tall timber up there. So when you see a guy like a Whittingham take it to the tall guys, that's how you play in the Big Apple.
Have to.
It's a standout from Brooklyn. That's how you get it done in the boogie down. And over in the crook. Meanwhile, there's an easy bucket once again by Omar Sherman. You're going to see plenty of that. Plenty of that here. South Alabama, 4 for 4 in their last 4 shots from the floor.
Sherman's a guy who's very skilled. I think, he's still got a little bit of a ways to go in terms of developing his body. He's already lost 20 pounds, and I think, probably another 5 to 10 could probably come off his hand if Rodriguez finally gets himself on the board with that 3. But going back to Sherman, he's a skilled player, more of a stretch 4. Doesn't really live on the block, but he has good skills. He'll definitely be a rotation player for Miami this year.
Young guy out of Duncanville, Texas, is Omar Sherman. We'll see how his game develops. He's got the one thing you cannot coach, and that is height. 7-footer, about 245 or so. As you see a couple shots on the inside, no go for Tafari. Here come the Canes once again. Great move to the bucket, but just off the mark. As you see the outstanding pace there by Palmer. Here come the Jags once again. As to Lewis, shot up and no, but he will shoot a pair. So once again, Abdul Lewis applying the pressure. We're going to take a quick timeout, bring you back to the Bank United Center. Rodriguez on the board with a 3. Canes lead by 22. It is the ACC on ESPN. College basketball inside the Bank United Center. Miami out in front by 22 over the Jags of South Alabama. Kevin Cork, Drew Nicholas with you. The Canes started this game, Drew, on a 23-0 run. And tell me what the Jags of South Alabama are doing differently. At least they're getting better shots, I think.
They definitely are. I think that they've done a better job in terms of taking the basketball to the basket. Guys aren't settling for those outside contested shots that are resulting in Miami's fast break opportunities. And now they're starting to get to the free throw line, as we see, but Lewis now has to step up to the strike and make them. He's 0 for 3 right now.
We'll see if Lewis can connect here. That would certainly be a boon for this Jaguar team right now, struggling to put points up on the board. And no, and the work continues. That ball is loose, however, and ultimately collected by the Jacks, and we stay down at this end. Very nice break there for them. Great entry pass and the whistle, and they'll stay down at this end. It's Deontay Ferguson working hard, the senior from Prattville, Alabama.
Excellent job that time by Stevenson to get the basketball inside to Ferguson. And Joe Thomas, as a defender, you can go straight up, but you can't put your arms and come down. That's always going to be a foul. Ferguson at the line for 2.
Really have to work on the charity stripe action. You don't want to leave points on the floor, especially in the event that you're trailing by 22 points on the road. And that's something that we've talked about. When you have a young team like this, it's the little things that make all the difference in the world. Second one knocked down by Ferguson. That makes it now 30-9. I do like what I'm seeing in the way of their size. They do have legitimate size. They just have to work on the little things right now, and defense is one of them, because Rodriguez will make you pay if you're not careful. Takes that one to the bucket. No. Boyanov got the rebound, and they go the other way behind Kenny Williams. Here he seals the baseline there. They'll work it back outside. 30-9, Canes by 21. 6:44 to go here in the first half. Shot off the mark. We'll see if they run, and they do. LeCompte has it, looking up above. Maybe takes it himself, decides to back out. We'll see if McClellan gets on track. We have not called his name a great deal in this one.
Looking back at the other end, I think last time, even though South Alabama didn't score, you saw them play with a lot better pace. They worked the basketball around. They ended up getting a pretty good shot. Now, like we said, this is a young basketball team. The little things that count, and one of them is obviously putting the basketball in the basket.
Absolutely right. As we see McClellan knock down the easy, smooth stroke jumper, 32-9. Approaching the 6-minute mark, remaining here in the first half. There's a very tough runner. Gotta like that if you're Coach Graves, as Barrington Stevens knocks down another one. Stevens, only 5'10", and I think that's a generous 5'10". Oh, you saw the spin. That could have been a thing of beauty. Instead, it's a turnover. Williams gives it up. Shot off the mark. Battle for the rebound. McClellan's just too strong and too tall. Takes it himself the other way. Will he break down the defender? Takes it down to the baseline, and it looks like the Canes will reset here behind Lecomte.
If you're Coach Larrañaga right now, I think what you want to see from your basketball team is you've got to continue to play hard. There's a natural tendency when you get up by 20, 25 points, you tend to relax at times. But I think that this is going to be a big test for them in the sense of you've got to be able to play basketball games for 40 minutes. There's going to be times when you're playing against Duke and Carolina where if you slip up for 2 or 3 minutes, games can be over.
Boy, you're not kidding about that. Strong offering there, off the mark. Stevenson now has it, stripped clean, and here go the Canes the other way. Lecomte working it, great back pass to Rodriguez, but no on the finish, and here come the Jags. They want to run behind Williams.
That's a situation right there. As good as Angel Rodriguez is, he's only 5'10", and when you give him the basketball in those situations where he's got to finish amongst trees, he's going to have problems. He's got to be able to float the basketball up as opposed to try to go right in where you got his shot blocked.
Well, and that certainly happens, especially like you mentioned there, Drew, when you're in the tall timber. Ferguson, by the way, knocked down that bucket for the Jags, 34-13. McClellan, boy, that guy's got great handles. What a pass, and the foul! Jakiri knocking it down.
Let me tell you something. If Sheldon McClellan continues to work on his outside shot, I really think that this kid could have a long NBA future because he's a big-time athlete. He's got excellent size at the shooting guard position. And with some of the plays that you've seen tonight, you know that he's got a good basketball feel. I think it's just his outside shot that he needs to continue to improve. And more NBA scouts will be coming to this arena.
And another free throw knocked down by Tanya, and so now it's 37-13. Biggest lead of the contest for the Hurricanes, up by 24, 4:15 to play here in the first half. Williams serves that one over Ferguson. Working hard, shot clock at 20. Very good move there. Deontay Ferguson really beginning to shine.
Did an excellent job right there by getting into Tanya Jakiri's chest. Anytime when you have a 7-footer, you have to go at their body and back them up a little bit because when you get backed up, you can't jump. So Ferguson did a good job right there, was able to get the deuce.
Shot clock at 15. And a whistle as Newton tries to work his way left. Aggressive defense, but right now the Jags need a lot more offense as the Canes are pouring it on. 3:40 to play here in the first half. Miami cruising. We're coming back with the late stages of half number one after this. Welcome back, everybody, inside the Bank United Center. It's the Hurricanes out in front of the Jags, 37-15. And talk about balance and outstanding assist play. Look at that number there, Drew.
12 assists on 15 field goals made. Anytime when you look at good basketball teams, they always can pass the basketball. Miami's obviously doing that. Tanya Jakiri right now, 7 feet tall, the center, already has 4 assists, which is a career high.
Very impressive indeed as the Canes are out to that big lead and they have the basketball. Canes in white, Jaguars in the dark blue. Newton back on the floor. Jaquan does have a bucket in this one. Excellent passer as well. Jakiri looking again and another assist. Jaquan Newton with the bucket representing Philadelphia, 39-15.
Dare I say a little Vlade Divac?
Ah, a little Laker reference there. I like that. Great Vlade Divac. You like basketball, you remember all the great teams he played on. There's a bucket in the lane, a much needed bucket once again by little Kent Williams. I say little. You know me, that's a joke. 6'2", 175. Houston, Texas standout.
Well, I can't talk. I don't think I've weighed 175 at any point in my college career. Kevin, when I tell you I came into my college career as a freshman, I was 155 pounds, soaking wet.
Wow.
Soaking wet.
As tall as you are? Had to get you on the Captain Crunch diet to pick up some weight, my friend. That's Sustical in you. Bucket. Opportunity here for the Jags. Ja'Carry with a block. And another block. If he keeps this up, he's going to have 5 of them. End of the first half. 7-footer out of Hialeah. We mentioned the local flair. How important is it? And I know you know this having played in Maryland. You get those guys out of D.C. I mean, there's some talent around there, or even Baltimore. So you know that the necessity to have that pipeline. And Larrañaga has certainly created one here at the U.
Well, I think he has, and that kind of goes back to his days at George Mason. He did an excellent job of recruiting the D.C. and Baltimore area. And then obviously down here, some of his assistant coaches have done an excellent job of making sure that they keep this talent from the Miami area right here at Miami.
Bucket earlier by Tayshawn Johnson out of Indianapolis, but he's playing his defense just a little too much into the jersey of Jaquan Newton as he draws the foul. 1:56 to go here in the first half. Canes by 20, 39-19. They actually started this contest on a 23-point run. Shot clock at 20. Working outside is Burnett. Fires that one over to the corner. Shot off the mark from Sherman. We stay here. And he finishes with a flush.
Assisted by?
Who else?
Tanya Ja'Carry.
So that adds to his career high in assists, make it 5 times by the big fella, 41-19.
Tanya Ja'Carry gets enough minutes before the night is over. He might end up with a triple-double. I believe he's already got 5 rebounds as well as 6 assists. Doing an excellent job both on the offensive and the defensive end.
And listen, if the Jags keep testing the middle, he may end up with 10 blocks. Whittingham from downtown, no. Knocked out, should be Canes basketball. As you see it go off the hand there of Boyanov. Boyanov is from Bulgaria. I'm sure they would love to get him loose to hit a few threes. That's his specialty.
Yeah, South Alabama, one of the things that they desperately lack right now is a bunch of shooters. They've come into the game only shooting about 38% and 28% from the three-point line. You can tell that this team needs to work a little bit more on shooting the basketball.
Foul called there on the entry pass. And Drew and I were looking at each other like, are you serious? If Ja'Carry comes up with another assist, we're going to have to put a tote board up here for him. Palmer heading to the line now. He'll shoot for the Canes. I like James. He's an aggressive player. 52% of the floor. Missed that one, though. Tipped around, gets the rebound. Good hands once again by the big fella. 40 seconds to play here in the first half. Driving for the jam! Once again is Omar Sherman.
And right there, you see glimpses of it. Omar Sherman, I think, as he continues to develop and work himself in the weight room and cut some of that weight down, I think he's going to be a very good player for this Miami team.
The big O contributing a lot of O as an offense right now. 13 seconds to play. Final shot time likely here for the Jags. And a whistle. Last thing you want to see if you're Coach Larrañaga is Jaquan Newton fouling that far away from the basket with 9 seconds to play.
That's a situation where you've got to do a better job of knowing time and score, even though they're not in the bonus yet. But that far away from the basket, you don't have to be that aggressive.
Last shot time, offering up off the glass with 2 seconds to play. It's Stevens, and that will do it for the first half. So the Canes jump out to a 23-0 lead. Since then, South Alabama has actually scored 21 to Miami's 20, but it's a big lead nonetheless for the Hurricanes after 1 half of play. Coach Larrañaga will have a chance to have a conversation with his club, and we'll bring you back. It's halftime here at the Bank United Center. Canes lead big. Don't go away. Halftime show coming up next. at halftime inside the beautiful Bank United Center. Miami well out in front of South Alabama, 43-21. As we present the ACC here on ESPN. We are thrilled to have the athletic director here at the U, Blake James, joining us. And I have to say, if you've been watching this program at all, especially over the last 5 years, you've seen just so much of an increase in the excitement of what's going on here at the U.
Oh, there is. There's been a tremendous amount of excitement around the program. I think a lot of credit goes to President Shalala and just what she's done in bringing this institution to just new levels. When you look at where we're at academically, being one of the top 50 institutions in the country, the top in the state of Florida, she's done a great job of just really blossoming the brand of the U, and as athletics, we're a big part of that, and we're excited about the future.
Obviously, this is a football school. If you know the University of Miami's history, you know it's a long, storied history, quite frankly, national championships and basketball. But I think when you have a Coach Larinaga like you do here in basketball, listen, you never know.
Honestly, I think we can win in anything. And when you look outside right now and it's beautiful weather, again, we talked earlier about the academic standing of the campus. It's a wonderful community that I think is just getting better and better all the time. And will be one of the real leaders in this country as the further development. It's a great place, and I think we can win in all of our sports. And obviously, with a great coach like Jim and what he's done in his career, to now give him the resources here and the opportunity, I think the sky's the limit. And I obviously have a bias. I think it's that way with all of our sports.
Let me ask you before we wrap it up. I want to make sure that you get a chance to mention the great growth and development dollars, because when you invest in the infrastructure here and you welcome people back, it makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
No, it really does, and I think that's one of the things I've really made a priority is we have to continue to invest. It's important for us to continue to do things. We're talking here tonight, the first night with the new scoreboard, and generous gift on that front. But as important is developing the donor base, and over the last few years, which haven't seen all the successes we typically have as a program, we've doubled the donor base, and so that's something we're excited about. And again, this makes us very optimistic about so many things for the future of the U.
And as you heard Coach Blake James, the AD here at Miami, mention, they're ranked #1 in academics here in the state of Florida, knocking out those Gators. That makes a lot of folks here in Green and Orange very happy. Appreciate your time with us, Blake James. Thank you.
Great to be here.
Athletic director here at the University of Miami. Very quick timeout. We're coming back with more basketball and statistics. 43-21, the U out in front at halftime. Welcome back, everybody. It's the ACC on ESPN. The Canes leading by 22 at the break over South Alabama. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you. As we look inside the numbers, it's one thing to beat a team like South Alabama, but Drew, when you have an ACC schedule coming up, it's really about being prepared for that if you're a Hurricane or a Hurricane fan.
Without question, Miami doing an excellent job so far, and obviously this is a big test. So they've got Illinois coming up, and then looking forward to their ACC schedule. They start off right away with Virginia, who's a very, very good basketball team, and then 2 games later, they go to Cameron Indoor, which is always a tough task. So Miami obviously has to be prepared as they open up that ACC season.
Boy, you make a great point, too, because going to Cameron Indoor is one thing, and there's a budding rivalry. If you've been watching this program, you know a huge win over Duke. A lot of people still talk about that, and to get there and try to notch a victory against a team that will likely be #1, perhaps at that point, is tall sledding, to say the least.
Absolutely. When you take a look at Duke's basketball team, they've got one of the best big men in all of college basketball, Jahlil Okafor. He's a really, really big presence inside. And then also they got the kid Tyus Jones, who's an excellent freshman point guard. Miami is a very good basketball team, and they've got to continue to work to be able to beat teams like Duke and Carolina and Louisville in the ACC.
One of my very favorite places to go watch a basketball game. And indeed, this is a great place to watch a game too. The Bank United Center, where tonight the Canes are leading comfortably at the break. We're coming back with second half action after this. Welcome back, everybody, inside the beautiful Bank United Center on the campus of the University of Miami in Coral Gables. The Canes out in front comfortably here at the break. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you. As we look back at that first half, obviously when you start out the contest leading 23-0, there's plenty to celebrate if you love the Canes.
Well, Miami jumping out to that 23-0 lead, and I think a big part of it was due to their ability to pass the basketball. Miami did a great job in terms of coming out and sharing the basketball. And big man Tanya Jakiri, he was one of the guys early on in the first half who I thought did a great job in terms of not only scoring the basketball, but as well as passing the basketball. South Alabama really didn't have a good job in the first half, at least early, in terms of finding their right shots. So that's a big part of the reason why you're seeing a whole lot of Miami highlights.
Well, you saw the great passing that you heard Drew mention is when you can knock them down from outside like Lacombe and you get great interior passing. We saw a couple of real gems there. It just makes it so difficult to beat a team on their home floor, especially when they're clicking on all cylinders. But give credit where credit is due. The Jags did at least play better basketball after they were down 23-0.
They found a way to settle down. I thought that they did a better job in terms of executing their offense. They got the basketball inside to the low post, and they were able to just settle down and score the ball. You know, one of the things, especially when you play a team like Miami, you're nervous, you come out, you're not exactly sure how the game is going to go, and I think that's what you saw in the first 8-9 minutes for South Alabama. But then they settled down. They actually won the last 10 minutes of the first half.
A lot of what you saw, as you heard Drew mention, was the Jags just frankly getting in there in the tall timber and trying to knock them down. As we take a look inside the numbers, the three-point field goal percentage, obviously for Miami, a very good indicator of how things went for them offensively. But look at the second from the bottom there, Drew.
Well, obviously, you know, you take a look, 10 of 32 field goals, 1 of 6 free throws, and over 9 from the three-point line. South Alabama has to do a better job of scoring the basketball. Tanya Jakiri right now leading Miami with 9 points. For South Alabama, it's been a little bit done by a committee. Barrington Stevens III has done a good job of directing this team as well as scoring 6 points.
Very impressive for the big fella. 9 points to go along with a career high, 5 assists in the contest. Second half coming up next. Don't go away. And welcome back, everybody. Second half action inside the Bank United Center underway here. The Jags of South Alabama in the dark blue, the Canes in the home white, and leading right now by 22. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you. This is the ACC on ESPN. And quickly a whistle. And it looks like the Canes will control. And again, it's that pressure defense that creates a turnover in the early going.
Good job that time by Angel Rodriguez. His anticipation was able to get the steal, and then South Alabama had to foul in order not to allow the fast break.
Rodriguez, offensively a slow start for him, just a three-pointer, but his team has not needed much more than that, leading obviously in a big way. McClellan in the lane, soft floater, up and good.
That's probably the biggest strength of his game right now, his ability to get into the paint and score over defenders because he's so athletic.
7 points for Sheldon. That matches the high lead of the contest. Meanwhile, going the other way, little Ken Williams knocking down another one. He's really helping his club right now. Kenny got off to a slow start. Now has 4. His team will need a lot more of that. Carry off the mark. Here comes Stevens and company. Into the tall timber, and how about high and off the glass?
Barrington Stevens doing an excellent job right there. He recognized the switch with Tanya Jakiri on him. And when you have a big like that, if you're going to go into the paint, you better be creative with your finishes because Jakiri was coming for the block shot.
Junior from Allen, Texas with 8 points to pace the Jaguars right now, who trail by 20. Lacombe in the lane, driving, no. Rebound knocked around and controlled by Ken Williams. That's not going to get it done. He loses it, but fortunately for the Jags, comes up with it. Stevenson, no. Put back up and good by Bayanov.
If you're Coach Larinaga right now, you've got to be a little bit disappointed with the way that Miami has come out at the start of this second half. You see them come out to begin the game with a 23-0 run. Now you come out in the second half, they look a little flat. South Alabama is beating them to loose balls.
A lot of basketball yet to be played. A 6-0 run now by the Jaguars. McClellan in the lane. That'll break the run as he gets another runner to go. 9 points for Sheldon. Lead back to 20. So we'll see if the Canes are listening to Drew Nicholas and tighten up defensively. Williams from downtown. Smooth stroke. That'll be a 2-foot on the line, but don't look now. But Ken Williams is heating up. He's got 6. See if the Canes can match Blair here. LeCompte working around the three-point line. Passes it up. Thomas to McClellan. A little bunched up right there. Got to work on the spacing. Shot clock approaching 15. There you go. And it's McClellan. Easy pickings in the lane.
Excellent job at that time by McClellan of moving without the basketball. Did a good job of setting his guy up and then cutting to the basket for the easy deuce.
11 points for McClellan, and here comes Ken Williams. He's got 8, and he's on fire.
Well, South Alabama has come out early in this second half and is shooting 5 out of 6 field goals. Excellent job and execution by South Alabama.
Carey backing in, using the body. Can't get that to fall. And a whistle means we go the other way. So a very solid start here for South Alabama as we get underway in the second half. The lead is at 18, but perhaps most of all that's important for them is there's some fight in this team.
Well, I'm sure Coach Greaves wishes that they would have came out like this at the beginning of the game as opposed to the second half. But it's always a promising sign when you have a team that's down so much, still able to come out here and fight.
So we'll see what the Jags do. Williams again firing, this time from downtown. No, rebound to Carey.
That's what I like to call a little heat check. He had made 2. He wants to see exactly how hot he was, decides to shoot that 3. Probably not the best shot, but being a former player, there's always times when you've got to understand where you are.
We're going to take a quick timeout after the blocking foul. The Canes still lead, but it's down to 18 as we continue our coverage of the ACC here on ESPN. Welcome back, everybody. Miami out in front by 18, 15:47 to go here in the second half. Kevin Court, Drew Nicholas with you as we take a look at the upcoming schedule for Coach Graves and the Jaguars.
Well, obviously, it is their first games against Spring Hill, and then, looking a little bit further down, they go to Pepperdine as well as Richmond before they're getting ready to get into conference play.
You see down at the bottom there that UTA contest will get them underway in conference. Meanwhile, the Canes leading by 18. Watching Joe Thomas miss that one. He does have a bucket in this contest. His team would like a little point here. Why not? They lead by 18 here in the early stages of the second half.
Not necessarily an offensive player. I think Coach Larinaga is more so looking from Joe Thomas to be a defensive enforcer, a hustle guy, somebody who's going to be able to grab rebounds and help in that regard. It's going to be interesting to see as they move along this season whether he stays in the starting lineup or he becomes one of those hustle guys that comes off the bench to provide energy.
One of a number of players from the Miami area on this Hurricane squad. Good battle there for the basketball in the lane. You saw Deontay Ferguson in the middle of a host of white shirts, scrapping and pushing.
Well, one of the reasons right now why you see Joe Thomas coming out of the basketball game is it's those 50-50 loose balls that he's got to come up with. Omar Sherman is now into the game. South Alabama trying to get a score.
Johnson working left, fakes a shot, kicks it right back out, and once again it's Deontay. This time he can't get it to fall. To Carey with the rebound. Oh, nice look from JP, and once again it's the Big O with a bucket. He's got 10.
Sherman's got a great feel in terms of knowing exactly where to be after that defensive rebound. He's the first guy in transition, what you call a rim runner. Anytime you're the first big in transition, your main objective is to run right in front of the middle of the basket. He did a good job right there and was able to get a score.
Ferguson, meanwhile, at the other end, knocking one down for the Jaguars. The lead still at 18. Sherman over to McClellan. See if he decides to call his own number here as Rodriguez fires from NBA range. NBA three-point range, and that is off the mark. And here come the Jags again behind Stevens. In the lane, tough shot, bucket up and good. And once again, it's a timeout on the floor, and Coach Graves is loving it.
Coach Graves is loving it. But Coach Larinaga, I think, at this point, has been not very pleased with the defensive transition. Miami still up big.
Welcome back, everybody. All about the U is what the youngsters say inside the Bank United Center. 51-35. The big fella's having a huge night so far.
What an improvement from last year for Tanya Shaqiri. This is a guy last year who I thought, really needed to expand upon his game. I think he did a great job over the summer, as you see right here. By him continuing to play the game of basketball, he's just going to continue to get better and better, and 6 assists tonight reflects that.
A career high for Shaqiri. 51-35. Rodriguez testing the defense. Over to the Big O to McClellan. So a slight change in the defensive pressure. Palmer's shot up and good. James starting to heat up just a bit as he knocks that one down.
I like James Palmer. I know we talked a little bit about him in the first half. He's a kid that has good size. He's got a very good basketball feel. One of those kids coming out of the DC area. Those DC kids know how to play hoops.
Yes, they do. Speaking of knowing how to play hoops, that Ken Williams knows how to play. Three-pointer, nothing but net. Loose ball collected by Sherman. Back down to Palmer. Rodriguez, shot clock approaching 15. Oh, nice little spin move there. You saw him trying to work back and then to go to the bucket. Instead, he draws the foul.
Good job right there by Rodriguez. Even though I think he was a little bit out of control. Sometimes when you're aggressive, a lot of the times the ref is going to give you that foul call.
Rodriguez, K-State transfer, also out of Crop High School. You want to talk about local flair. Crop, Berlin, Crop, Carroll City.
Got to keep him in state.
Absolutely. And Shaqiri, of course, from Hialeah. So they'll come to look inside. There's a feed and a push. Gerald and McClellan.
Dare I say what you say in the first half? Sports Center top 10 nominee. I told you that. I told you that kid is a big time athlete. And that kid went up and got it.
Climb the ladder. It's Sheldon McClellan. Wow. With authority. That certainly got the crowd going inside the Bank United Center, 55-38. See how they respond. Big shot downtown, and it's Lewis again. Abdul. Long two, lead down to 15. That's a huge step for the Jaguars on a turnover to boot, and they're going the other way. Will it be down to 13? Yes! On the flush by TJ, Tayshaun Johnson.
If you think about it, if you take out the first 10 minutes of the first half, South Alabama will be up about 10 points right now. Coach Larinaga has to be thoroughly displeased with Miami's ability to stay focused, stay present, That's one of the things that the great teams did. When I was back in Maryland, whenever we got a team up by 15, 20 points, we wanted to get that thing to 30. Forget about letting the teams hang around, let it be a 15 or 20-point win. Coach Gary Williams always stressed us, don't ever look at the name on the jersey or who you're playing. You're playing for yourself, because there's going to be games later on during the season, especially in the ACC, where you can't afford to have letdowns.
Well, you make a great point there, Drew, as Jakiri knocks down a pair. This South Alabama team is young, perhaps so young that they just don't care. Hey, you know, you play lights out, and they certainly have been playing improved basketball, the lead at 15. But that's a huge difference when you compare, as you pointed out there, Drew, that Miami started this contest leading 23-0. LeCompte firing. No. Rebound. Good battle inside there. Jakiri thought he was fouled. Instead, the Jags go the other way. Long shot. No. And it's Ferguson fighting inside. Rejected there. And will stay, I believe, Miami's basketball. Indeed, that is the case.
Well, for South Alabama, I think that this is a huge momentum builder, because Coach Greaves is going to be able to go back and look at tape and show some of these guys what they did well, as well as what they really didn't do well in the first 10 minutes of the game, and those guys are going to be able to see that. One of the things, when I was a player, I always relished in terms of going back and looking at tape, because you got a good chance to look at yourself, see what you had to improve on, as well as some of the things that you did well.
And there's a turnover, and here come the Jags once again. Johnson flying, tries to draw contact, gets another bucket, and don't look now, but the South Alabama Jaguars are only down by a baker's dozen. 13 points is the lead now for Miami.
Foul is called on the Jaguars, number 2, Tyshawn Johnson.
Meanwhile, Tyshawn Johnson called for the foul, going the other way.
I think he was a little bit upset that there wasn't a foul call. And I think he had a little bit of a right. Obviously, you don't want to speak to the ref in the sense in which you get attacked. But Tanya Jakiri was running back, and I thought that he got a little piece of him with his hip. TJ has to do a better job of remaining composed, get back on defense, as opposed to now Miami's going to have a chance to put 2 points on the board.
Boy, you don't like to see that, too, especially when you get it down to just 13 points. So he loses his cool. Manu comes up, knocks down a pair, and the Canes will have the ball. You see Matthew Graves there, former standout at Butler. Came out in '98, his second year at the helm. I'm sure he'll have a conversation with that young man.
Yes, he will.
Like, you want to sit on the bench? Because that's where you'll be if you don't learn to keep your head in the game. All right, quick timeout. Big time jam. It's McClellan and the Canes leading right now by 15. Welcome back, everybody. Good night inside the Bank United Center. Miami still leading this one comfortably by 15, and I guess I should say comfortably if you think of a regular basketball game, perhaps not as comfortably when you consider how well the Jags have been playing, at least of late.
South Alabama's done a great job at the start of this second half, especially in transition. I thought that they've done a better job in terms of getting defensive rebounds and getting out in transition, as well as some of the Miami sloppy plays resulted in turnovers. And it all says it right here in the numbers. They're shooting 61% in the second half as compared to 31%. South Alabama doing a good job right now.
And they do have the possession arrow, but it's the Hurricanes with the basketball. Palmer to Sherman. They still lead by 15. Good entry pass to McClellan. Strong shot, and he draws the foul very quickly there. He'll be shooting a pair. The foul on John Brown, who's been, I should say, relatively quiet tonight for his club.
Seems like the two guys that we talked about in pregame have been the most quiet ones. Angel Rodriguez and John Brown haven't really had a chance to get going so far tonight, but this guy right here at the line is somebody else who we talked about during pregame. He's putting together quite a night.
No question about that. McClellan, one of 2 Hurricanes in double figures. He now has 12 points, 8 rebounds, and a pair of assists as well. Check that 1 rebound from McClellan.
Good
Good little move right there by Stevenson trying to break ankles. Serves it up. Air ball and the long three, but the putback is off the mark as well. You see LeCompte battling, ultimately hauled in by the Big O.
See that last possession by South Alabama, which we saw in the first 10 minutes of the first half. They came down, one pass, quick open three. South Alabama for the game right now is 1 of 14 from the three-point line. These guys have to know that they're not necessarily the best outside shooting team. They've got to find ways in which to get better shots.
You mentioned in transition, they've been outstanding, and it begins with good defense. We'll see if they can keep it going here. Palmer's three-pointer off the mark, and this is where South Alabama has been very strong. Williams makes the look, great pass, and a huge flush by Big John Brown.
South Alabama's athletic. When you get the rebound, you've got to run. It's the best way right now for them in order to score against this Miami basketball team, and they've done a good job of that so far here in the second half.
Gotta take off every chance you get. Palmer, corner, working against Boyanov. Shot up, good, easy picking for the Canes. Lead back up to 17.
And this is where South Alabama gets themselves in trouble. When they've got to take the basketball out of the net, come down and run offense, even though a very good look right there. Get the basketball that close, you got to be able to convert it.
Ken Williams would love to have that one back. He misses a pair of shots at point-blank range. Here go the Canes. Clellan, entry pass, Sherman, left-handed, no, and no again. A little frustration there by the Big O. Williams tries that long pass, Clellan out, we stay here.
The Jaguars 24, Deontay Ferguson returns, and from Miami, 0, Jaquan Newton.
South Alabama doing an excellent job in transition. Every time that they've had a chance to get out in transition, they've done a good job in terms of finding the open man. And as we said before, they're athletic and they can finish.
There's a terrific pass, and the bucket is good along with a foul. Deontay Ferguson, once again, is the man to watch for the Jaguars.
Good recognition that time by Ferguson, rather than pop to roll that time. Caught the ball in transition, in traffic, was able to finish.
Making 9 points for Deontay, and now an even 10. His club to within 14 points at the 9:25 mark remaining here in the second half. See what the Canes can do here now. Sherman back over to Burnett. Fresh faces, fresh legs. Newton on the floor. Palmer inside to the Big O. Tries baseline, loses contact. The Jaguars want to run, and here they go again. Trailing by 14. Entry pass into Ferguson. Working hard. Goes one way, then the other. Can't draw the foul. Can't make it stick. Here goes Newton. Downtown shot. No. Off the mark is Burnett. And once again, it's Williams running in the lane. No, the tip is off. And back come the Canes. We'll see if they run. Spin move, and it's a blocking foul on Lewis.
Seems like there's been a lid placed on both baskets.
Unbelievable, right?
Both teams are getting good shots, but nobody can get anything to go down right now.
Boy, I tell you what, it just one of those falls for the Jaguars. This is a 12-point game, which is a gigantic comeback by them. Instead, as you heard Drew point out, Coach Larinaga, fortunate, his club is still leading by 14.
Well, one of the things that Coach Larinaga was disappointed in that last game against Charlotte was defensive transition. They felt that Miami didn't do a good job of getting back and running to the rim, getting back to the paint, and then spreading out. And I think this is something that's been exposed again here tonight against this South Alabama team.
He looks fired up right now and none too pleased. Tell me what the conversation's like in a moment like that.
Well, I'm not really sure, but I do know this. I do know that Coach Larinaga is one of the most even-keeled, nice guys in all of college basketball. So when you see him fired up like this, you know that something's going wrong. I'm sure that he's telling his team right now that they better start playing with more energy and more passion. Even though it's a day after Thanksgiving, these guys got to come out here and compete for 40 minutes, not necessarily just for 10 or 15 minutes like we saw in the first half.
Really enjoy the conversations with Coach Larrañaga. He is the Pied Piper of college basketball here in Coral Gables. That shot up and good by McClellan, who continues to star for Miami.
The first time I saw Coach L after I had played against them in the 2001 NCAA tournament, I was doing a game down here last year. First thing he does, this is how good of a memory Coach L has. He tells me the exact sequence of the last 2 minutes of our game, because it was a really close game in the first round, George Mason against Maryland. He told me literally play by play exactly what happened 12, 13 years ago.
Wow, that's impressive. Ferguson, spin move, gets his rebound, can't finish, goes again. Williams in the tall temper, high and no, and again battling. And we'll see what the men in stripes say. They say we will stay here. Listen, if nothing else, they're getting some offensive glass work here, and that's certainly good news if you like the Jaguars.
You have to, and for Coach Larrañaga, this isn't going to be Deontay Ferguson all year. This is going to be Jaleel Okafor. This is going to be Kennedy Meeks. This is going to be Montrezl Harrell from Louisville. Miami has to do a better job in terms of defensive rebounding and then getting the basketball out in transition.
Lewis had the right idea, missed on the execution there. He did not put the basketball on the floor before he did the 2-foot step there, and that means it's a turnover to carry, and the Canes now back at the other end.
Did the little Sierra 1-2 step.
Yes, he did. I like how you put that. JP from downtown, no. Good battle for the basketball. Ferguson is there. He's everywhere right now for South Alabama. Long-range shot, and let freedom ring as Ken Williams knocks down another. The lead is down to 13.
What a second half Ken Williams has put together. He's been able to knock down shots. I believe he's got 2 3-pointers this half. He's been very aggressive, coming off the pick and roll, being ready to shoot or find his teammates.
That breaks an 0 for 5 string there by the Jaguars. DeCarry down to the corner. Burnett lets it ring. Ring the 3-point bell for DeAndre.
Nice touch that time by DeAndre Burnett. I think that he's still not fully healthy, as you see that big knee brace on his left knee.
Timeout on the floor. The Jaguars want to talk it over. That was a huge 3-pointer by DeAndre Burnett. They needed it. He has 7 points in this one. The standout from Carroll City. A lot of local folks here enjoying the basketball that he's been able to play for Coach Larrañaga.
Well, this is a kid coming out of high school. He averaged 35 points a game in high school.
And light him up.
So you know he can score. I think it's just a position and an opportunity of him continuing to get more time. Obviously, Adrian Rodriguez and Mono Lacombe are going to be the starters as well as Sheldon McClellan. But he could be one of those guys, an offensive spark plug coming off the bench.
What is the big difference in coming from a great high school program to playing Division I major college basketball?
Physicality. One of the biggest things is guys are so much bigger, and you've got to learn how to play hard every play. That was one of the biggest things that my assistant coach Billy Hahn told me when I first came to Maryland. He said, yeah, we know you can score 25 points a game in high school, but what are you going to do for us in order to win basketball games? You've got to start doing that on the defensive end. Forget about offense. Everybody can score on the offense.
Here come the Jags. You saw them knock down a 3 not long ago, thanks to Williams. They're just 2 for 15 from beyond the arc. Boyanov. We haven't called Georgie's name much tonight. That's his 2nd bucket.
Good recognition that time by South Alabama to go inside. Miami right now playing with 4 guards. Boyanov had a clear size advantage on Sheldon McClellan.
Burnett working inside. No. Rebound, Boyanov. Huge chance here for Barrington Stevens, Johnson and company. Johnson working, kicks it out to Lewis, fakes the shot, goes past JP, shot up, no, put back, yes! Abdul Lewis makes it a 12-point contest with 6 minutes to play.
Second chance points for South Alabama. You see the energy, you see the passion all of a sudden instilled in South Alabama, as opposed to in the first half, they came out completely flat.
And talk about rescuing his club. DeAndre Burnett never had a 12-point lead, seemed so small. He knocks down the long-range J to get it back up to 15 before Abdul Lewis is knocked down on the foul. quick timeout inside the Bank United Center, and it's been a great rally by South Alabama. Down at one point by 24. They cut the lead to just 12, but the Canes have it back up to 15. We're back with more basketball after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the University of Miami campus. It's the ACC on ESPN. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you. The Canes right now leading by 15. Kent Williams, a huge second half with the Jaguars.
He's come out in the second half and he's been aggressive. And anytime as a scorer and a shooter, you see the basketball go in for you. You start to get a little bit of a rhythm, start to get hot. And he's done a good job of just carrying it over.
Leading his team now with 14, one of a trio of Jaguars in double figures. And if Tayshawn Johnson gets another bucket, they'll have 4 in doubles. Meanwhile, Abdul Lewis has 6. You can make it 7 as he knocks down that one. Miami at one point leading this contest by 24 points. In fact, they started out leading 23-0 more than 9 minutes and 40 seconds into the contest before South Alabama even got on the board. But since then, they've been slowly but surely reeling in the Canes. The lead now down to just 13 with 5:37 to go.
A little bit surprised that South Alabama hasn't tried to incorporate some full court pressure, maybe try to get a turnover, especially coming out of a timeout like this. As you see the excellent high-low pass from Omar Sherman into Tanya Jakiri. Jakiri's having what I would call a career night.
Indeed he is. Not just a career high in assists, he's obviously scoring at a fevered pitch. Double figures go along with blocks and rebounds. He's having a great night, as Drew points out. Behind the back pass to Lewis, to the corner. Boyanov firing up from downtown, and it's good. The lead is down to 12, 73-61. Boyanov now with 7. Rodriguez kicks it back to the Big O. He fires one from downtown. Not exactly what you would expect. Instead, here go the Jaguars on the move. Oh, big, beautiful shot there. No, tipped around. Lewis in tall timber. Can't get it to go. Rebound this time. Scramble for the basketball. Possession arrow favoring South Alabama, and a timeout on the floor.
Right now, this is a simple case of South Alabama outworking Miami. They're doing it on the offensive glass. Every time there's a ball on the floor, they're the first ones to hit the deck and try to get the basketball. As you see right here, Abdul Lewis kind of loses his footing as he goes up. But look at the blue jerseys. They're in there fighting. They're the first ones on the ground with the Miami players kind of standing watching the basketball.
His team certainly needs him to get just a bit more offensive production. Abdul Lewis, actually, believe it or not, was the first player to score in this contest. You remember back when it was 23-0, it just looked like the Jaguars were overwhelmed. He finally got that shot, and since then, as we pointed out, Drew, it's been a pretty competitive basketball game.
Most certainly has. You know, you take away those first 10 minutes, South Alabama is actually plus 11. And for Coach Larinaga, that can't be a good sign. Obviously, they've got the big game against Illinois coming up in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. And you just have to see more focus for longer periods of time from Miami.
Right now, perhaps the most dangerous player is not on the floor for South Alabama. Jakiri with a big block on the inside. And that's Deontay Ferguson. We'll see what they do offensively when he gets back in. There's a man with great offensive touch. And Angel Rodriguez. Ditto, same can be said for Sheldon McClellan. Looking left, Lewis called for the hooking foul there.
That was one of the first times tonight that I saw Angel Rodriguez actually be aggressive coming off pick and roll. Other times he was looking to split. He was trying to make the home run play as opposed to just making the correct play, be solid, come off aggressive, and then see what the defense gives you.
1-1 here for Rodriguez, the K-State transfer, who is having a huge impact on this Canes club. Smooth stroke, knocks it down. Great to have him back home. If you're unfamiliar with his story, yes, he did play at K-State, but also is a graduate of Dr. Kropp High School here locally. And another.
things I like about Rodriguez is he's a natural-born leader. Even though he sat out last year, at the end of last season, Coach Larrañaga had already named him captain. And I think that speaks volumes to the type of leader, type of point guard that Angel Rodriguez is.
Good look back and great pass. The assist from Stevens over to Lewis. The lead back down to 12. It's getting late now for the Jags. Despite the great rally, they're still down by a dozen. They need some stops and maybe a 3 or 2. We'll see if they can get a little closer. Meanwhile, Rodriguez, nice shot. Love the touch. High and off the glass for Angel.
That's one of those shots that every 5'10" kid needs to have, especially if you want to compete at the college level, because you're going to go up in there against the trees and you need to have a floater or find creative ways in which to score the basketball. One of the best players I ever saw to do it, and I'm sure, Kevin, you can agree with me, is Allen Iverson.
Oh, yeah, AI. Love his game. Would watch him play anytime. One of the all-time greats. Hall of Fame caliber player indeed. Lead back down to 12 after the bucket there by Barrington Stevens, who's also in double figures for the Jaguars. Lecomte firing that one. No, but he gets his rebound. That's a hustle play, and the bucket to boot. Well done there by Manu.
He's been fairly quiet here in the second half, but did an excellent job of recognizing that nobody blocked him out and had a chance to go get his own offensive rebound.
Boyanoff in the timber. Tries a little clear out there. Carey didn't like the call, and that means he'll be shooting a pair. The Canes lead by 14 inside the Bank United Center. Will they close out the Jags? Find out after this. Welcome back, everybody. Sebastian and the Canes enjoying it right now, leading by 14, 2:34 to play here in the second half. It has been a very long uphill climb for the South Alabama Jaguars. Down at one point by 24 points in this contest. Coach Larrañaga and company fighting off a rally, leading now 79-65. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you. Boyanoff will step up for South Alabama. Now, I don't pretend to know what will happen here. But let's say, for sake of argument, he knocks down a pair. They're down by a dozen. Is this now where you begin to press?
It has to be. With only 2:30 left, I think we've got to do something in order to try to speed the basketball game up. Now, they haven't used any pressure throughout the game tonight, but I'm sure Coach Larrañaga probably expects that they might try to go. So expect zone pressure from South Alabama and Miami. You got to beat the press, be patient, the clock, and get a good shot on the other end.
Georgie knocks down 1 of 2, lead back to 13, still 2:34, and some fresh legs back on the floor once again. So for the Canes, it's Rodriguez, Lecomte, McClellan, Sherman, and Jacari. And they have the basketball shot clock down at 20 seconds with number 20 with it.
Right now, it appears that Miami's going to hold the basketball and not try to go until they get up to 10. Watch for either Angel Rodriguez or Ronald Lecomte to call for a high ball screen and create.
Lecomte to the corner. Sherman from three-point range. Got it! The Big O knocks down yet another. His club now leading by 16.
How about the touch on Sherman?
Yeah.
In the post from the three-point line.
Coach Larrañaga has found himself a good one in that young man, the freshman from Duncanville, Texas. A lot of ball handling here by Stevens. His club needs points, 1:35 to play. Omar Sherman with a career high, 13 after that three-pointer. Speaking of three-pointers, that may have been a foul on a three. I'll have to double check there. It looks like he's only going to shoot a pair there.
That's a no-no. Anytime when you're guarding the basketball and somebody's taking a shot from that far away from the basket, obviously you want to contest, but you have to make sure that you don't come down on him. And Manu Lecomte extra close, and Johnson now at the line.
So he'll shoot 3, 2 remaining. He missed that one. Tayshaun out of Indy, taking great basketball towns. Love Hoosier basketball. The Hoosier State, a great place to watch Lots of good basketball, not just college basketball, but high school basketball there is sensational. Quakerdale Prep, Pike High School. So the lead is 14. As you take a look there, in comes John Brown as Ferguson takes a seat. Lingering around half court now, a bit more pressure perhaps by the Jazz. Indeed, that is the case, and they come up with a basketball. Still down by 14. Attacking once again, rejected by Jakiri.
Excellent weed side help right there by Jakiri. Does a very good job of making sure that he waits until Stevens goes up and then he decides to go up and get it. One of the extra benefits of being 7 feet tall.
My goodness, you see the wingspan of that kid. It's like a 7'57". Williams, good. Lead back down to 12. Not over yet. Walking it up is Rodriguez. One more bucket by the Canes should salt it away. I would think we'd see fouls and free throws from this point in. Probably don't want to foul either one of those two guys.
Well, it looks like South Alabama, they're just going to play man-to-man defense, but as I say that, Stevens commits the foul on Manu Lacombe.
Barrington starring offensively. Stand out from Allen, Texas. Called for his third personal foul on that play. Manu will head to the line. He'll shoot a pair first. JP coming in, that would be James Palmer. Jakiri will head out. Tanya with a wonderful night for the Canes. Second shot by Lecomte, up and good.
I think if this Miami team could get production, obviously Tanya Jakiri is not going to have 15, 9, and 8, or whatever he had tonight. But if they can get consistent inside presence in terms of rebounding the basketball, blocking shots, they've got enough scores on the offensive end this year where that's all they need from Tanya Jakiri, and anything else is an added bonus.
Johnson, by the way, there, Drew, knocking down the three-pointer. One of 5 players now for the Jags in double figures. Back at the other end. Nice and easy way to pick up points. There's a good look at Tanya. Boy, you called it earlier in the contest. You said he keeps this up, he may end up with a triple-double. He got close. Wow.
Excellent job by Jakiri tonight. South Alabama needs something quick here. Either going to the basket or trying to get a 3.
Tip up and good. I believe Ferguson will get credit for that one. Lead at 11.
I'm a little bit surprised that South Alabama waited this long to start applying full court pressure. Something that probably we could have seen at the 4 or 5 minute mark as opposed to waiting until the last minute and 30 seconds, where it's going to be extremely difficult for them to come back this late in the game.
Especially now, you're right, only 30 seconds. You would need them basically to miss a pair just about every time out. Not likely to happen, but you never know. Jaquan Newton does miss that one.
I don't want to speak too soon because I was part of a game where in 2001 we were up 10 with 54 seconds left against Duke, and they somehow came back, tied it up, and went into overtime and beat us at home. One of those college losses that I'll never forget in my career.
My goodness, that is not good. Meanwhile, that shot from downtown, Sherman knocks it out. Will stay here. A three-pointer would break it under 10 points. A bucket here would certainly help. Ferguson, rebound, gives it up. Boyanoff firing, no. Again, battling. This time it's Newton coming up with it, and that should do it. So Miami comes away with a 12-point victory. 87-75 for Coach Larrañaga. Sometimes 12 points feels great, tonight maybe not as much.
Probably not as much considering they jumped out to a 23-0 lead. I think this is going to be a good example of Miami, that they need to continue to play 40 minutes, but in the end, they still were able to get the victory.
For the entire crew on ESPN, and my partner in particular, Drew Nicholas, I'm Kevin Court. This has been a presentation of the ACC on ESPN. Don't forget, you can watch this game on ESPN3.com. Your final score, Canes win it 87-75. Great night for the Canes inside Bank United Center as they come away with a 12-point victory over South Alabama. Kevin Cork and Drew Nicholas with you, everybody. Listen, sometimes you win by 12 and it's a great victory. Sometimes you have to fight for a 12-point win.
Without question, especially when you look at Miami, the way that they started this basketball game, jumping out to that 23-0 lead. Miami, I thought, lost their focus a little bit, but credit South Alabama for the way that they kept on fighting and was able to finish that basketball game.
Actually outscored the Canes by 10 points in the second half, but Ja'Carry was the star without a question for Miami.
Very active. As you see his stat line, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 blocks. So really a defensive enforcer on the defensive end for the Canes tonight. And he did a good job just in terms, as you see right there, of catching the basketball and finishing.
It's not every day you see a big man with 8 assists. He was amazing tonight. And as we look inside the numbers, listen, the rebounds, you would expect Miami to have more, but South Alabama was cleaning the glass.
South Alabama did a great job the last 30 minutes of attacking the offensive glass, and as well as getting defensive rebounds and getting out in transition. I thought their shot selection at times was a little shaky, and I thought that's what helped Miami win this basketball game.
5 players on both teams in double figures. Leading the way for South Alabama, it's Williams. As you see, McClellan starring for Miami.
Sheldon McClellan had a great night tonight. He was able to get 17 points on only 6 shot attempts, so the efficiency was there. Miami did a great job in terms of spreading the basketball around and sharing the ball.
McClellan leading the way and a thunderous jam to boot. A 12-point victory by Miami, 87-75 inside the Bank United Center. We'll see you again next time.